Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, Magic Band Plus has come to Disneyland. The holidays are moving in on Halloween. Candy cane dates have been posted.
Genie Plus goes sky high, along with more price increases. We continue our talk with Imagineer Mel McGowan and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome aboard the DL Weekly podcast. Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding. If this is your first time listening, we hope you'll check out our website at DLWeekly.net. If you have more time to spend, becoming an official weekly tier at DLWeekly.net/support is an especially good value. Thanks for traveling with us today, and we hope you have a happy and memorable listen to this week's episode.
Hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of October 26th, 2022. I'm Teresa Urban.
And I'm Tag Bushman. We're going to send a shout out and a thank you to Aaron D. for becoming an official weekly tier on our Patreon. Our supporters get some pretty fun perks like DL Weekly swag, bonus content, access to our Discord community, and more. A special thank you to Kennedy Lynn, Courtney S., Carrie M., Andra K., and Thomas F. for your continued support. If you would like some more Disney magic in your day, head on over to DLWeekly.net/support to join the community.
Our friends over at All Enchantineers have been busy. They, of course, make fun and unique ears, plus ear holders, straw toppers, lithophanes, and so much more. They are offering a special sale now through November 17th. That's 20% off. So that's for everyone. So if there's something that you've had your eye on that you've been thinking about, or if you want to get a jump on holiday gifts, now's the time. Head on over to allenchantineers.com to check them out.
Now let's get to the news.
This week, Magic Band Plus soft launched to Magic Key holders, Disney Vacation Club members, and cast members. MiceChat has a great guide to everything Magic Band Plus. Guests can pre-purchase some bands on Shop Disney before their trips, but some of the designs are only available in the park. The bands start at $34.99 each, and there are 5 exclusive designs at Disneyland specifically.
I asked a weekly tier who was going to the park to please pick up some for me, and originally it was 1, and then it was 2, and then it was 3. I got the Disneyland, like the what is this?
Just Disneyland with the castle.
Just Disneyland with the castle. I got the fireworks one, and I got the DCA one, because I thought those were the 3 best designs. And yeah, so spent a lot on the Magic Bands. I'm excited for the next time we go to use them. It seems like it's working out pretty well for the guests that are using them and linking them and everything like that. So that's really great. I'm
still on the fence with Magic Bands Plus. I think they're convenient, but I don't, with the price point, to me, they're a little spendy, because right now, all I would be getting use out of it would be scanning into the park, photo pass, and then if we do the bounty hunter game, because you and I don't usually
do Genie Plus.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only time I've done Genie Plus actually was the day you and I tested it out when we were there last year when it launched. That's the only time I've actually used Disney Plus. I just had that realization. I haven't used it really at all. So, but if you've got Genie Plus and you're using lightning lanes, this would be way more convenient than using your thing. And it's fun that it like buzzes and lights up with the shows. I mean, that's fun, but I wouldn't purchase it just for that. So, and I'm really bad at making decisions, so it's just too hard for me to decide which one, because I'm only probably going to commit to one, because it's just it's not something I want to spend a lot of money on.
I'm still surprised at this. I thought for sure that you would spend more money and buy something.
I like them. I enjoy the designs and everything, but I don't know. Because so $34.99 is the price for just your plain Jane Magic Band Plus. Just a plain solid color, and you've got a little Mickey silhouette on the, we'll call it puck. And then they do have ones that are printed and have like designs on them. So they're like maybe character designs or park designs, movie designs, those sorts of things. Those start at $44.99, and there are some limited edition ones out there too that jump up to $54.99. So they do get spendy, but I mean, there's tons of fun designs. But I do want to remind everyone that Magic Band Plus is not something that you have to get. It's not like Disney is going to do away with all other forms of anything. You can still do what you've been doing with your phone and you don't have to have a Magic Band if you're not wanting to get a Magic Band yet.
I feel like the Magic Band situation, though, is going to be, it's kind of like, okay, this is like a tech nerd thing, but once people start working with like a second monitor on their computer, it's like, I can never do without it. So I think if you ever get a Magic Band, it's going to be kind of, I don't know, it's just easy to want to stick with it. I will say there was one that I saw in a video that's not even Disneyland, it's Epcot, and it was their 40th anniversary Magic Band, and I love this one. But I'm going to have to, maybe I'll put it on my Christmas list or something, because it's a $54.99 band, and I just don't think that I could convince...
After you've already bought 3 $44.99 bands?
Shh, we're not talking about the money yet. We're not talking about the money.
But, yeah. So
plus shipping.
I'm really excited for more functionality to come to these. So right now in Walt Disney World, Magic Band Pluses can be used as your room key for your resort hotel rooms. And it can also be used for like purchases and payment. Once that stuff comes online, especially the payment, that to me is much more exciting than, because my current usage would be at the beginning of the day and if I do PhotoPass or not.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be getting a lot of usage out of it right now, but time will tell.
The other thing, just so you guys know, in the Disneyland app, when you set this up, you can actually go into the app and some of the things that eat up battery, like the lighting and stuff.
And the buzzing.
You can go in and turn those things on or off. So that's something that I had not seen a lot of places. And so it was nice to know that that was the case and that you could make those changes. I've also seen a lot of people pulling the puck out.
Yeah.
And
so then
like people have 3D printed like key fobs and stuff that you can put it on. For me, that kind of removes the convenience of just having it on my wrist. But it is what it is. I am very excited for these.
One thing I do want to mention, if you do purchase a Magic Band, whether you purchase it on Shop Disney or if you purchase it at the park, don't be too excited and accidentally throw the packaging away, because each Magic Band Plus does come with a charging cord. The charging cord is specific to a Magic Band Plus, so it's not like you can use a phone charging cord or some other charging cord you have at home. It is specific. It clips onto the back of the Magic Band. It is in the package. From what I've seen photos of,
it's in the back.
It's the back side of the packaging. The packaging is black and the charging cord is black. So it's very easy to kind of not realize that it might be there. So don't accidentally throw your charging cords away. If you do accidentally throw it away, misplace it, or go to the park, your Magic Band runs out of battery and you need to charge it, it does sound like they will be selling charging cords individually, and it was like $8 for a charging cord. The other thing too to remember, Magic Bands come in, it's just one size. There isn't a difference between a kid size and an adult size. You buy the same Magic Band. However, each Magic Band, though, they do have it. I don't even know how to describe it. They do have it that you can.
There's like a perforated.
Yeah, it's almost like perforated, but not perforated too much that as an adult you have to worry about it coming undone, but perforated enough that you can kind of shorten the band, I guess would be a good way of explaining it for kids or those with smaller wrists.
It's kind of amazing. Like I don't know. It's nice that they designed it that way. It's pretty cool.
That was a really, really smart way to do it.
Now, I feel like it would have been nicer if they would have done a normal charging cable for it, like something that you could charge your phone with. Now it's like another thing you have to, but whatever. I'm just happy because we've talked about Magic Bands coming to Disneyland for a long time and we've wanted it and now it's here.
And then one last thing to note, the Magic Band Plus is what you can use at Disneyland. Disney World has Magic Bands as well as Magic Band Pluses. So make sure if you go to Shop Disney, the Magic Bands are like the Magic Bands are less expensive. So make sure you're buying the Magic Band Plus because that is the only one that will work at Disneyland.
Yep.
But bonus, it also works at Walt Disney World. So Magic Band Plus, just remember that.
Well, the end of October is still about a week away, but the holidays are already moving in around the resort. The most noticeable change is the snow covering the roof of Sleeping Beauty Castle. Christmas light installation has begun on Main Street for the trees. New Orleans Square has also started putting up decorations for the holidays, so it's not even Halloween, and we've already moved on to the next holiday.
This just breaks my heart. I love the holidays, all of the different holidays at the resort. And it just makes me so sad that the wintertime holiday festivities are crowding out Halloween. I get that it's a big time investment. I just wish that they could start doing less noticeable things first and wait to put snow on the castle until after. If they could just hold, like, even if they started taking a couple of the pumpkins down from like all of the pumpkins that are on Main Street, if they kind of start thinning that down earlier, I'd be more okay with that. But snow on the castle is too much for me. It's too much too early. I want that to... The snow shouldn't arrive on the castle until at least November 1st.
I agree with you on that one. They've got, the holiday season doesn't start till November 11th. You'd think they'd have plenty of time to do...
It's a ton of stuff, because think of just Cars Land. The big switch that they have to do in Cars Land.
But I'm saying, like, the castle, you could leave that to the last bit, and it would look better.
Leave the castle in Cars Land needs to be the last things that you touch.
Sure.
In my opinion.
Now,
if I were in charge of the universe.
Do you think, I know this is way too far in advance to even be thinking about this, but do you think that the snow will come next year because they're going to have all the decorations for the 100th anniversary? Do you think they're going to skip that year?
That'll be
Because I think they did that with the 60th. I don't think they did the snow-capped stuff during that year.
No, that'll be interesting because But, okay, so the 60th, though, had, like, ribbons and stuff on the roof where the snow caps go. I don't believe we have any. We have like banners and stuff hanging.
Well, we have a
down.
topper that's going to go
There's
here.
a topper, but as you can see, the topper comes off for the snow cap to go on. I think we might still have snow because there's nothing in the new 100 version or decoration scheme of the castle that is obvious to me that would make it so that snow couldn't go on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Versus like the 60th. They had all those like silver diamond pattern things on the castle.
Oh, yeah, because they had like stuff on.
Yeah, so they already had caps on top of the roof.
How come I typed in Disney 100 Sleeping Beauty Castle?
I have no idea.
Nothing shows up from the concept art of that because I was just trying to double check.
I think it's just banners, but I don't think there's nothing. The flags are different. The wishing stars
that's
on
going to
there,
interfere with the
but
snow.
everything else is the banners. So the big thing is the fountains. I'm very excited about the fountains.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see. I feel like it's almost any time now they should start doing work on those. But I'm with you. Too early for Christmas stuff, or if they could just wait a little bit longer on some things. It seems like they get it up pretty quick when they start doing it. It's like, why can't you just wait till after? But maybe there's other things that we're just not aware of.
I'm sure there's a method behind the madness. Definitely.
Well, it's definitely madness.
Well, as the Halloween season nears an end, as we just said, it's a little too quickly, in our opinion, but we start to look forward to the holiday season at Disneyland. The candy cane dates have been announced for this year. Guests can pick up a candy cane at the Candy Palace on Main Street inside of Disneyland on December 4th, 6th, 11th, 13th, 18th, 20th, and 24th. Trolley Treats over in Disney California Adventure will also have them on December 5th, 7th, 12th, 14th, 19th, 21st, and 25th. There will be a mobile wait list like last year. Last year, the candy canes were $19.99 each, but Disney has not announced the pricing for this year.
So I told Teresa she's very excited to potentially get some candy canes this year. I had my thing last year. I didn't even eat all of mine. I think
you're not a big candy cane person.
I'm not a big candy cane, but also I felt like it was such a big deal that I didn't want to eat it because it was a thing. And then by the time I was like, well, maybe I could eat it, it was like stale.
Oh.
So I ended up like, I don't know, April, May, ended up like throwing it away.
We'll get one and share it.
I just don't think I need one. But I'm glad that they've released the dates, and it seems like there's a lot of dates for them. So lots of opportunities to get them. But I will tell you from our trip last year, there are the craziest of crazy Disney people that sometimes you meet in line for that. So just be forewarned.
Ted kind of hinted at this, but we are looking at coming out and enjoying the parks again over the holiday time. We do have park reservations for the dates that we are hoping to be able to get out to enjoy the parks. And like I said, holiday time at the resort. And I was so just like flabbergasted. So last year we picked our dates, and it just so happened that 2 of our days matched candy cane days, and
the parks we were in.
Reserved just happened to be in the correct starting parks for both of those days. Well, this year we only reserved 3 dates because if we go, we're not going to be able to do a ton of time.
Yep.
We reserved 3 dates. All 3 days we're in the correct starting park. So I decided it's a sign. The Disney gods want me to have a candy cane again. So I think I want to get a candy cane. I do think, though, we were talking about this, although it's more magical at Disneyland because it's Disneyland and it's Main Street USA, it seemed like it was a little bit quicker and easier to get a candy cane from DCA. Now, I don't know if that's because not as many people, it's not top of mind for people to know you can get the candy canes at Disney
or
at DCA, and they think it's only a Disneyland thing because the Disneyland line was crazy, quick, long madness. DCA, It's a much shorter walk from the gate to Trolley Treats. And it was much more relaxed and more chill. And the line didn't go like miles long right away. So I don't know what it is. Maybe that was just a mix of things when we were there. The other thing too, remember, if you want to try and get a candy cane for yourself, try to get lined up for the gates probably about an hour before the gates open. Get your best mall walk going and
you can't run. Don't run.
What do we call it? Do your candy cane shuffle from the turnstile back to either the Candy Palace or Trolley Treats. But yeah, that was quite the experience being with all these people doing this like quick mall walk candy cane shuffle thing.
Well, didn't we also go in on the right tunnel like we always do? And technically the left tunnel's like the closer, because you're already kind of on that side of the street.
Probably, but it was still fun. It was just hilarious because I remember just looking over at these people that we had befriended in line because we had been waiting for a little while. And we were just laughing at like how ridiculous all these grown adults doing this, like trying not to run, but going as fast as we can. Like I said, we coined it the candy cane shuffle back there, and we just felt it was so fun. It was so ridiculous and so fun.
See, I'd much rather get into the park and then like sit on Main Street and watch everybody candy cane shuffle to the line.
Well, I'll candy cane shuffle and you can just sit
people
and
watch
as I
I'll grab like a chai or something and just watch. Well, with GD Plus moving to new on-demand pricing recently, people have wondered how high could it go. Well, this past weekend, it reached $30 per guest. This would add $120 per day for a family of 4. Individual Lightning Lane passes also saw the highest prices yet, with Rise of the Resistance going for $25 per guest and Radiator Springs Racers going for $20 per guest.
It's crazy, but I'm sure they were still getting a ridiculous amount of demand even at these higher prices. I would love to know, we're never going to know, but I would love to know, what is Disney's thought process on this? I would think it would make more sense to charge some crazy amount. Genie Plus is $100 per day, period, end of story.
Per person,
yes. And then maybe you don't have to. I don't know what you do about the individual. I don't know where you'd set the individual prices, but $100 per day for this Genie Plus. I think you're going to still get people that are doing it. Clearly, you're not going to get the same volume of people doing it, but Disney's still making their money, and you're giving a better guest experience to both the people in Lightning Lane, because you've got much shorter Lightning Lanes because there's fewer people using it, and your standby is not going to get as clogged up. So I'm just curious, is Disney just going to keep inching this up just to see how much they can get away with? Or are they creeping it up because they're hoping to get to that higher price point like I was just mentioning?
Like they're trying to find the balancing point of where it's going to be best?
And what do they think their balancing point is?
Are
they just looking at it at the dollars part of it, or are they looking at it at the like guest flow part of it too? Because there's two pieces to this.
The metric that they always seem to talk about on their earnings call is their per capita, per guest spending capita or whatever. So what is going to move that metric so they can say, we had 40,000 people in the park this day. They spent X amount of money. At what point does that X amount of money divided by those 40,000 people move the needle on each guest spending more? So I think they're looking at, okay, can we raise this? Maybe less people will buy it, but if we raise it enough, it'll still move that metric up. So I don't know. It's very complicated. I obviously am not in a business that doesn't need this type of stuff. I'm sure that there are really smart people with spreadsheets and calculations and formulas and AI and everything trying to figure it out. I just hope they figure it out sooner rather than later, because I'm kind of like, they're taking a very slow, measured process with all of this.
Mm-hmm. Well, last week we talked about a lot of price increases around the resort on a number of things. Well, even more increases have come to the resort in a lot of categories. Adult Spirit jerseys have gone up to $79.99 from $69.99. Children's Spirit jerseys have gone up from $49.99, now $54.99. And Loungefly backpacks have gone up to $85 from $75.
So, wow. I mean, Teresa and I were talking about this when we saw this. When did we even see this? Like, we were in Marceline together looking at it.
I think it was when we were driving down.
And it was crazy because we were talking about how expensive Spirit jerseys were anyway, and now they're $10 more than that.
Yeah.
And even the kids, and Teresa and I always talk about the Spirit jerseys for the dogs. Those have also gone up.
Only $3 though.
Yeah, it's gone up $3, but still, I mean, I don't know. Prices are going up for these aren't things we reported on the things that I buy last week. We reported on pins. You buy ears. Those two things are like kind of big things that have gone up. You know, we're not a huge Loungefly backpack or Spirit jersey person, or the plushes have gone up in price. But I don't know. Like everything's just going up, right?
Everything's going up, but I think it's tough because it's not like it's going up a little bit. I mean, Spirit jerseys jumped $10.
Yeah.
You know, so that's it feels like significant price increases. So that's what makes it a little bit tougher of a pill to swallow. And it's one of those things too, you know, Spirit jerseys, for example, very popular, right? Is the fact that it's now $80 instead of $70 for a Spirit jersey. Is that going to, you know, if you're a Spirit jersey person, let's hear from you. Is this recent price increase going to make you think a little bit more before purchasing stuff? Is it not going to affect your spending, or are you going to really limit yourself now because they're getting a little too steep, a little too crazy? I know for me, I feel that way with ears now, because when I first started buying ears, they were $20 a pair. Well, now they're $35 a pair for just the kind of the basic
almost
ones.
double.
Yeah, so I know for me, it's definitely, I've pumped the brakes. I'm not buying nearly as many as I was before. And same thing I think is now going to happen probably with pins. I might not be buying quite as many pins as I had before, just because since I don't just buy, it's not like I buy one set of ears and I'm done, or I buy one pin and I'm done. I'm a collector, so I'm buying multiple. So it adds up really fast when you're buying multiples like that. So I'd be curious to hear from Weekly Tiers. What do you guys think of these recent price increases? Are these going to make you less merch excited? Keep your excitement the same? You know, how are you feeling about these price increases, and what do you think it looks like for your future spending at the parks? Yeah,
hit us up on social media, DL Weekly, pretty much everywhere, or feedback@dlweekly.net. I mean, we're kind of seeing this already, too. Like, before it even started with Magic Bands for you, you're like, well, too much for me. I'm just going to get one. Because we talked about for a long time about getting multiple Magic Bands. But when they've changed the prices, you're like, yeah, it's not that much for me.
Well, and the regular Magic Bands were like, I don't know, $20, $25. Yeah. Magic Band Plus jumped.
Was it you? I think we were having this conversation. I know we're back to the Magic Bands. I'm sorry, guys. We're back to the Magic Bands. But I just remembered this point that I think we were talking about on our car ride, which was that it'd be nice if you could change, like you could just buy the bands.
That's right. We were talking about if you could buy the bands and the pucks separately, and then you can kind of like mix and match. So you only have one of the pucks, which is where all of your information is, but then you could swap out the bands. So kind of like what you do with an Apple Watch. You have your watch, and then you can swap your bands. But it'd be fun because then you could mix and match your pucks too. So everybody's Magic Band wouldn't be, if you had the fireworks Magic Band, you wouldn't just have the fireworks Magic Band. You could have the castle with the fireworks, you know, the castle puck with the fireworks. Or, you know,
but then people like you, like the bands, if the bands were cheaper, then you'd buy the puck the one time, which is probably the expensive part.
Yeah.
And then you could just keep swapping bands out.
Well, and then also the other side of that is all the people that don't want the band and have been popping the puck out and putting the puck in on like a keychain or something like that. Then they don't even have the cost of the band because it's not something that they're utilizing anyways.
Look at that. Disney, we've just made your next $1 million idea.
I hope you're listening.
Well, the new Black Panther movie, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, will be debuting on November 11th, and the Disneyland Resort is celebrating from November 11th through January 8th. That's quite a long time. The new warrior taking on the mantle of Black Panther will be greeting guests in Avengers Campus at Disney California Adventure. M'Baku will also be greeting guests, but will also be recruiting for a new experience called The Way of the Jabari. The Black Panther Celebration Garden will be next to Avengers Campus and will be a place for guests where they can relax and honor the legacy of Black Panther. And in the Hollywood backlot, the Flavors of Wakanda Marketplace will have flavorful, spiced traditional African dishes. Props, collectibles, and more will also be available during the celebration.
This sounds so cool. I'm very excited about this. I think there's so many different things that I'm excited about for this. First of all, I like that that is November 11th through January 8th. So it's not like it's just the week that the movie debuts. It's around for an extended period of time. So many people hopefully will be able to go and join in the celebration. I like that they're using the space next to the Hyperion Theater that was kind of the overflow seating for Pym Test Kitchen. I like that that's going to be kind of turned into the Black Panther celebration.
Is that where it is?
That's where the Black Panther Celebration Garden is going to be.
Oh, because I was thinking it was that
using that space.
Little spot like where Ernesto was. For some reason, I thought it was in that little section.
Oh, from what I understood, it was going to be that spot next to the Hyperion.
Oh, okay.
Which would make sense because then there's more things down in the Hollywood backlot.
Yes.
So, and then I like that we've got different foods and flavors for this celebration as well. And I mean, we love new characters. We love the synergy between new movies, new shows, and the characters being in the parks right away. But I'm really excited that not only are we getting new characters, but we're getting a new experience with the Way of the Jabari. This just sounds like a ton of fun and a ton of excitement to be able to go and experience. I hope we are able to go and do this.
Yeah.
Ahsoka Tano herself, Ashley Eckstein, will be at Disneyland on November 5th to celebrate her new book, Star Wars Every Day. The book has recipes, activities, and crafts from Star Wars. Guests who purchase a copy of the book may have the chance to meet Ashley at the Disneyana shop in Disneyland from 10 a.m. to noon and over at the Star Wars Trading Post in downtown Disney from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Her book released on October 25th and is available for $35.49 on Amazon in hardcover or $13.99 for the ebook version.
So Ahsoka Tano obviously is a very popular character from the Star Wars universe, and Ashley Eckstein does the voice for Ahsoka Tano. So it's really cool that she's doing this. She's really involved with a lot of these things. She made some ears. She's been on a lot of like streams and stuff that Disney's put on in Star Wars stuff. So this is a great opportunity for people who are going to be in or around the resort on November 5th, not too far from now, to go and meet her. Any book that you purchase at the location are going to be pre-signed by her, so there will have her signature in it. And then you also have the opportunity to actually meet with her. She won't sign your book because it'll already be signed, but you can meet and maybe get a picture or something with her at the Disneyana shop at Disneyland or at the Trading Post in downtown Disney. How exciting. That's kind of cool.
I think that's so cool. I love when these people, these artists, these different, people involved in different things. Because a lot of times we have the Wonderground Gallery in downtown Disney hosts a lot of these kind of meet and greets with, people behind some of these things. A lot of times theirs is artwork related. I just think it's so fun that they host these little mini events at the parks and in downtown Disney.
Well, speaking of people who do cool things besides their like primary job and creating artwork and stuff, the voice of Mickey Mouse has created some amazing artwork for the Grand Californian. Brett Ewan created artwork that will be gifted to guests staying at the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa. The artwork features Mickey sitting in a wooden chair enjoying the hearth at the Grand Californian.
This is, I think it's so cute. I think it's so well done, and I think it's cute. It's Mickey sitting on one of the chairs, like one of the chairs that is by the Grand Californian fireplace with Pluto cozied up next to the fire. It just looks so cozy. The photo just looks so warm and inviting. And I just think it's so magical that the voice of Mickey Mouse drew this piece of Mickey Mouse artwork. I think that is so, so fun. I didn't know. I had no idea that Brett also was an artist and had these talents as well. That's
me either.
Super neat. Super, super neat.
Yeah, they even, in the article that we posted a link to, they even have a picture of him working on this piece of artwork.
He had posted this and shared this on his own personal social medias. So I think that's just so fun. So cool.
He said that the hotel has his favorite aesthetic with that kind of craftsman style stuff. So, who doesn't love the lobby of the Grand Californian?
It's beautiful.
It's really cool. The fact that he can do the voice and he can draw himself, basically.
I know. Well, and like looking at the details of this too, he's really done a nice job of capturing the essence of the Grand Californian. There's all the little details with the trees kind of in the wood, the very unique and very distinct kind of shapes and colors of the lights that they have there, plus just the hearth of the fire. It's just beautiful.
The like tree stuff carved. Yeah, he did a really wonderful job.
Very nice job.
Well, if you're staying at the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa soon, you probably will get one of these.
A longtime Imagineer is retiring after 42 years. Bob Weiss, who served most recently as Global Imagineering Ambassador after being the president of Imagineering. Bob said, quote, "I am proud to have been an Imagineer, a collaborator, and someone who loves to do impossible things with impossibly talented people." That's beautiful.
It is beautiful. We saw Bob Weiss at the D23 Expo, and we didn't know at the time that he was retiring. Now, technically, he doesn't retire till after the first of the year a little bit. But for somebody who's been around for 42 years in Imagineering, what a talent to be losing from the organization. But, Bob deserves to have some relaxation and time off. And
He's been in so many so many different projects around not just, the US, but around the world. So it's just what a career, thank you, Bob, for all of the magic that you've brought to all of us and inspiring the next generation of Imagineer as well, because we know without the Imagineers, the big Imagineers, the Tony Baxters, the Kevin Raffertys, the Joe Rohdes, we wouldn't have the next coming up of Imagineers. So I just love that Imagineering it's really just a really special place, right? Because you've got so many people that really, and all the Imagineers we've talked to, they're all very humble. They've done these incredible things, but it's never like, oh, look what I did. It's so much about teamwork and so much about collaboration there. So I just love that, these people that have been able to have such long careers with the company are able to impart and share their knowledge, and they're excited to do so. And I just think that's so cool. So thank you, Bob, for everything that you've done for us and for the magic of the Disney company.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see who the next crop of really stand out Imagineers will be. I'm sure they're there, but I'm just interested to see who ends up kind of coming up to that point. So, well, the Disneyland Resort has begun a new initiative to help the surrounding community. The Disney Community Workforce Development Initiative will support 19 nonprofits with 300 volunteers contributing 2,200 hours, along with 67 Disney mentors and more. Disney will give $1.5 million in grants to the program this year.
That's, so cool. So cool. I just love that, yes, Disney's a big company. Yes, they have their money printing machines, as Tag likes to call them. Mm-hmm. But they do a lot of good, in the areas surrounding them, as well as, for other places and organizations. And I think that's really, really important to do. And I just think it's really extra special when they're doing it in their backyard and in, the places just across the street from where they are printing all their money off, as you like to say it. So I think I like that they try and help the communities that they're in as well.
Yeah, and this is only for this specific Community Workforce Development Initiative is just for the Anaheim area. So that's really cool that this money is all going to the surrounding community there. So that's great that Disney does this stuff, and we report on stuff like this, little initiatives and things they do in those areas a lot. So I'm glad that they're continuing to do that.
Psst, avast there. It'd be too late to alter course, mateys. And there be trivia questions lurking in every cove, waiting to be answered. Listen close, and keep your ready Disney knowledge handy. That be the best way to answer correctly. And mark well me words, mateys. Dead men tell no tales. You come seeking questions and long-lost Disney information, eh? Sure, you come to the proper place, but keep a weather eye open, mates, and hold on tight with both hands, if you please. There be squalls ahead, and James and Vern waiting for them what don't answer correctly.
Hello, and welcome to Trivia Land. How are you two doing today?
I don't know. It depends on how much you're going to do to us.
I'm hoping for questions about things I recently learned that are fresh in my memory. That's I'm going to put that out in the universe. I'm sure that's not going to happen, but I'm hopeful.
Well, I hear we've been enjoying these attraction-focused trivia themes. So my question for you is, do you like playing with toys?
Playing with toys?
Yes.
Is this like a Toy Story?
Is this Midway Mania?
Midway Mania!
Oh, no.
Did I get that? Do I get a bonus point for that?
I mean, you probably should, but that clue was too easy. We'll see if the rest of my questions are just as easy for you, though. So our first one this week, true or false, Disneyland's Midway Mania was the first of its style of attraction to open up at a Disney park.
True.
True.
Second question. How many different activities and toys can you identify from the Toy Story films or maybe even your own childhood about the attraction?
Goodness.
How many?
How many?
How long did you take to compile this?
Disneyland.com gave me this one.
Oh.
So are we supposed to, so am I supposed to say?
I just need a number, give or take.
Oh, jeepers.
So
I don't have to list them.
My question is where,
So, throughout the attraction, you can see games like Twister or Walt Disney's Adventureland or Alphabet Blocks or a Crayon Box.
So it's just the games.
So it's at least a Crayola Crayon Box or some Play-Doh. So it's at least 5. You're welcome.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, are we in
There's
double
I think
digits?
there's
Are we
a
in triple
lot.
digits?
It is double digits.
Okay.
I will let you have that.
I will say 30.
Oh, man, I was thinking much higher than that.
Well,
You're saying 30?
Say much higher than that.
I was thinking like 75.
We'll say 75 then.
I am. I wrote it down.
Tag, I like that you asked double or triple digits and then your guess is 30
He was wondering if he needed to go with 9
or 90.
90.
What? Whatever. $1, Bob. $1.
$1.
Wait, what's Teresa saying? 76 then.
You got to pick the what is
Closest
it?
without going over.
Yeah, it's the closest without going over. That's what it is. Okay.
Our third question this week. One of the carnival booths in between games is Hockey Puck's ice cream bars. What's it a nod to?
Oh, I didn't even know it was there. So
Like what?
Hockey Puck's ice cream bars is a nod to something Toy Story film franchise related.
Hockey pucks, ice cream.
what did you say? A nod to something?
Related to the Toy Story franchise.
I don't know. Is it like was it the ice cream that they served or something in the like arcade place where the arcade games were, or the pizza
In Pizza
place?
Planet?
Yeah, I don't know.
You think it's related to
I need
Pizza
to watch.
Planet?
Yeah, it's probably related to Pizza Planet, but I feel like I haven't watched this movie recently enough for this, James. I know it's a Midway Mania question, but it's kind of relating to the movie.
Kind of, but kind of not too.
The only thing I remember from Midway Mania is I remember the plates that have the little army star on it. I remember the ring toss game. I remember the darts with the balloons.
Well, Tag, this is a great segue because your last question is
Wait, Teresa hasn't given a guess.
I don't know what it's. Mine's a question mark.
Okay. Well,
It
you ruined this
reminded
great
me
segue.
we're forcing this in.
Dairy Queen dilly bars, but then he said specific to
Oh, yeah.
that. I'm like, nope, not the Dairy
All
Queen
right.
dilly
So
bar.
what's your segue,
You're
James?
talking about the different games. I need you to put them in order, not including the practice or bonus rounds.
Not including practice or bonus rounds?
Correct. There are
Well,
5 of them.
Oh, only 5?
There's only 5 games.
Army plates last.
Yeah, because it's breaking the plates, and then you've got the darts. I'm just trying to
Darts,
list all of them.
I think is
There's
second to
the
last.
ring toss.
Ring
Yeah,
and
'cause there's the little rings that come out.
I will gladly confirm with you once you list your 5 if you have the correct 5.
Okay, ring toss.
there's a paint.
Oh, there's
one.
the paint because you're like shooting like paint at it.
Is the paint okay? So is paint first?
I don't know. I'm not trying to put it in order. I'm just trying to get our 5 first. Then I'll put them in order. What am I missing? Water. There's a water. Is there a water gun one? No, that's at the game's outside.
Before you get too far into it, I believe the paint is the practice round.
Oh, because I throw things at the plates that are coming out, and then like the dinosaurs and stuff. I think that's
That's
darts.
The dinosaurs is darts. What's the farm animals?
See, I thought the farm animals were like paint or something. Because it's the rocket ships are the
The aliens are the ring toss.
are the ring toss.
We're crushing plates. We're not throwing plates. That's like the
Do
little
we
like
throw plates? No.
no. There's like these like suction cup dart things.
Is that the practice round or is that the real?
What breaks the plates though? What is the thing that you're throwing that breaks the plate? You're not throwing a rock. Because there's the one at the end where it's like the suction cuppy things.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's something I don't know what breaks the plate. And what do we shoot at the
James,
farm
do we
animals?
have 4 at this point?
You have 4.
Like, but
We
they're
do
actually
so suction
4?
cup darts.
You have 4 that are correct for
Okay.
describing the games. Yes.
Okay, so we're missing 1.
So do we have to say what it is? Okay, what's the question again?
I'm just interested in you getting them in order.
Okay,
You two
so-
have decided to challenge yourself to remember them.
So we've got the farm animals first.
Is it the farm animals first? Okay.
That, to be clear, the farm animals are ham and buttercup, ham and eggs, egg tossed.
Oh, so those are eggs. We're throwing eggs at the farm animals. So the farm animals are first.
Okay.
The army plates are last.
I have no idea what order any of this is in because all I'm thinking about is panic, hit all the fancy things with the biggest numbers. And the one that I feel like I do the best on is the ring toss, which I think is somewhere in the middle. So I think
Yeah, the
like
ring
ring
toss
toss
is in
is
the middle.
third.
Are the dinosaurs second to last, or are the rings before the? I think the rings are the second to last. I think it's rings, and then it's army plates. I think it's darts. What the heck comes? 5, right? Farm
So it's the egg
animals,
something,
something.
the ring
Dinosaurs.
dinosaurs. Where's the ring toss? Second to last.
Yeah, rings / aliens and darts. So we're missing something.
Man, I was thinking our trivia was going so fast until we got to this one.
I got to slow you down at some point.
Do we get an order?
We're missing one still. We've only got 4. We need 5.
Well, James said it was because you were just saying farm animals.
I don't remember hearing your plungers in your list.
Oh,
Suction cup darts.
yeah. So the plungers, but those are on plate. That's plates too, kind of.
Those are two different
Plates. Got it.
Yep. Sarge runs one and Woody runs one.
Okay, so what's our order then?
Okay, so we've got the farm animals. We have the break the plates one.
Sarge or the darts?
I don't know. It's the ones that
Is it the army men?
The one where you break the plates. Oh, yes, with the army men.
Okay.
It's the one where you break the plates. Dinosaurs with the darts. The ring toss with the little green men and the rockets and stuff. And then it's the suction cup darts.
At the
I
end.
think those are on plates too.
Okay. Do we have a bonus question?
No bonus question.
Our bonus is knowing the items.
Yeah, I should have split them up, obviously, but who knows? Maybe Tig and Teresa are lost in Midway Mania.
I don't know if we got that.
I mean,
anywhere.
you're making us get into a mania.
Confident with farm animals being first and the suction cup darts being.
How do you
last.
know that? Why are you so confident in that?
Because I do well at the farm animal one. I don't do so well with the dinosaurs all the time. God, maybe the dinosaurs are sooner. I don't know. We'll find out.
Locking it in.
Locking it in.
You at home better be locking it in too, but you got a while before we get to our answers for Midway Mania. First, our discussion topic for the week.
Well, this week for our discussion topic, we continue our conversation with Imagineer Mel McGowan. Enjoy.
So back to the Grand Californian. It's funny that you had just brought that up because I wanted to kind of circle back to it. The Grand Californian, I've always been enamored with the Disneyland Hotel because of the like classic and the nostalgia. So, but the Grand Californian, we've gotten more familiar with. Ted kind of mentioned this past spring, I actually got married at the Disneyland Resort. The ceremony was at the Disneyland Hotel, and then we had the reception at the Grand.
My sister got married at the Disneyland Hotel as well.
Did she? Yeah.
Magical.
It was super magical.
Great staff, by the way. All of the staff there did an amazing job.
They've always been amazing. Yeah.
So the first thing that was shocking to me is they took us backstage, how close the two hotels really are. Because again, I'm thinking of it through like the downtown Disney lens, and they seem like they're forever away.
Yeah.
But the layout of the hotel itself is really interesting to me because it's not your traditional just here's your square or your rectangle and we're just vertical. It sprawls a lot more than I kind of noticed or gave it credit to. And like you said, you've got rooms above retail that is then facing downtown Disney. You've got your rooms that are facing out to the park, but even, kind of rooms kind of around the different pools and all that. And then you've got a monorail going through there too. And so that to me, design wise, is just far more complex than I ever kind of like realized. So can you kind of talk about how do you do that? How do you get that kind of like web of a hotel into that space so that you've got, here's your access to the, to downtown Disney, here's your access to the parks. Oh, we're going to have these really nice courtyards in the middle. And we're just going to make sure the monorail can go through here too. And I mean, it's just.
Well, and the monorail track was going to be the monorail track. So it's like, you got to work around this thing that's not moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the recognize the complexity because it's easy to just think, oh, it's cute, arts and crafts, lodge, inspired hotel.
But you know why?
It is quite,
Yeah.
But you know why? It's because you guys do it so masterfully that it doesn't draw attention. And so by the way and how great you've done it, people don't recognize it.
Well, I appreciate that. I would say that with all the fan complaining about how undercapitalized or how light the attraction schedule was for DCA 1.0, that there was a lot lost of what we were able to accomplish.
Right,
in terms of cleaning up the city, frankly, and creating that sense of a destination and a little taste that felt like, I mean, again, starting in 1990, when I had families that, would say, oh, we've been to Disney World, stay at the Contemporary, they'd come check in. I'm like, oh, this is going to be rough. Because this is before Disney had renovated anything. And, it's just not quite the same. But so when the Grand Californian opened up to give people a small sense of that feel, it felt Disney. It felt consistent with what we had done in Europe or Japan or Orlando. But yeah, I mean, my simple crude analogy is imagine like, every hotel room, right? That view, you want that view of being in the park. So, I thought of it as like a glove or a finger that you're shoving into into the park. You
right.
want views along, you want to maximize that frontage, right? It's like in the old days, they used to do these single loaded, beach hotels that, had one side facing the beach, the other side was just a hallway. Well, then developers got smart and said, hey, if we turn that 90 degrees and we can, whether we angle all the balconies or whatever, we can double the amount of ocean view rooms. So in this case, it was about like, hey, how do we maximize those views that are actually, quote, in berm, in park, in the Magic. And of course, you're still going to have rooms that are just over downtown Disney, and that can be great too. And so, the real key there is just some brilliant designers. Again, one of these guys one of my design heroes, an architect named Peter Dominic out of Denver. His company used to be called Urban Design Group. I mean, these guys were very used to complicated downtown urban design projects, but they had this weird leader that also loved these American national park lodges and understood the details. And he went on to do things like Animal Kingdom Lodge for Disney. And he was really a true Imagineer that really had both the left brain and the right brain. And I remember another landscape architect named Roy Ashley from Atlanta. It was just a gift to work with him on the pool, decks and the recreation areas and bring kind of that national park kind of feel, even though you're in these tight urban kind of courtyard kind of settings. There's a magical little area that is kind of when the hotel, you're going from the lobby to the private DCA entrance. There's a courtyard there that is called Las Brisas Court, the Court of the Winds. And that's like one of the only areas of the hotel that you're not really looking onto downtown Disney or not looking right into California Adventure. And just by planting a bunch of, evergreen trees and baby sequoias, and the brick pattern has this pattern of wind cutting through, and actually there's a background noise there because the monorail's swooshing through, and there's actually some mechanical noise from air conditioning units, but again, it all works because it's this mountain breeze noise. It's not a AC unit.
That's where your reception was, wasn't it?
We were in the Breeza courtyard.
We do our company picnic there every year. So I know the history of that courtyard, that was the Armpit Design Challenge courtyard of the hotel, but again, taking the challenges and turning them into story points. And that's kind of fun stuff. It's
incredible because, so we had our private event there. Obviously, it's a public space and it's a public hotel, so there's people all over the place. But you're right. You feel like you're just kind of in this little bubble, and you don't even notice. It was funny. We were watching our wedding video. My dad's like, there was all those people walking around. We were in the middle of this kind of hub, but you're just kind of in your own bubble there. It's just, and like you said, there should be. Of course, the monorail was going right above us, but you should be hearing other noises.
I mean, the mountain breeze was blowing
yes, the mountain breeze, yes. But like you said, there should have been so many other noises we were hearing, but no, you're just it's incredible when you think like when you're there, you're just enjoying it, but when you then kind of take a step back and realize, oh, wait a minute now, it's really incredible.
Appreciate that you noticed that, and like I said, we do our company picnic there for every year.
Well, and it's so I'm a big satellite view person, so I'm literally looking at this on satellite view right now. And, when you look at it, it's amazing and Disneyland in general is like a master at this, because obviously you get things like the Indiana Jones adventure. It's way the heck out there. It's not next to where you enter for it.
It's in the former Eeyore section of the park.
Yeah. So it just all these ways that people get around. But I'm looking
creativity
down right now. You've got the hotel, from what I'm looking at, you got the hotel on the left, you got Soarin' on the right. You wouldn't know when you're in the park that you are steps away from downtown Disney, and there's literally one little gate that prevents you from from the two connecting. And the same thing when you're in downtown Disney, you don't realize that there's a gate that you walk by that is right next to, I don't know. It's just,
one of the biggest challenges of California Adventure from a budgetary perspective was, going from a $3 billion Westcott project to a $1.4 billion, budget getting cut by over half hey, one of the rules was, we're not going to we can't afford a landscape berm, that Disneyland has enjoyed to screen the city. And if Disneyland needed that in 1955, they needed a lot more in 2001. Yeah. And so, one of the things we were able to do is use, pick some of the structures, the roller coaster structure, what have you. But the Grand California effectively became the berm for that Grizzly Peak, Golden State area to frankly hide the Disneyland Hotel and Paradise Pier Hotel because you wanted to give people the illusion that they were in a national park. So really, how great to really extend the view in the way that the Contemporary extends Tomorrowland at the Magic Kingdom, to be able to do that, in California Adventure with the Grand Californian.
So, okay, I'm curious. I don't remember who said this to us. It was I don't know if it was a previous guest or somebody we just ran into or what it was. Teresa, you'll probably remember. We had somebody on and they were talking about how, everybody talks about DCA, right? And how it was budget cuts and they just went cheap and they installed cheap attractions everywhere. And somebody, who was it? Greg Combs, said that DCA, a lot of people don't realize that what launched as DCA was what was intended to launch as DCA. Because the general, and I'm so curious what your opinion is on this, because apparently people think it was all just a lot of corner cutting and they just had to throw what they could in there. But Greg was like, no, that was the idea, was to have these, to have it be themed the way it was themed.
Well, I'm going to, again, commend the design team because there were some rock star designers. I mean, Barry Braverman, who gets thrown under the bus, was the creative director. He was an Epcot Imagineer. He's a good thinker, good communicator. Tim Delaney was one of the best Imagineer. He's the guy that visualized Discoveryland and kind of created that vision of that steampunk kind of Tomorrowland that never goes out of flavor. Went on to do Tomorrowland, Hong Kong, Disneyland. I mean, you just had some really gifted people that looked at that. And the challenge is, of course, that down the hall you had teams that were working on Tokyo Disney Seas and, literally 4 to 5x the budget, for the same, piece of land or square footage. The reality is, it was definitely driven by a post-Euro Disney financially conservative business planning team of executives, the Paul Pressler, who's not exactly very many people's heroes, but there was definitely some different drivers, but I can tell you that there was definitely some solid business strategy that led to those particular pro formas and those capital investment decisions. The reason I applaud the Imagineers, they were willing to take on basically a Six Flags Over Disneyland budget and say, hey, and again, this is before the days of Pixar and Marvel and all these IP heavy. This was like, hey, what's the right story to tell? And we said, hey, look, this is the original Disneyland. And we believe that there was only one place that could have happened, that Walt Disney could have thrived. And that was this fertile soil, this free air, this ecosystem that was the golden age, the golden state of mind of California. And let's celebrate that spirit of kind of entrepreneurial intervention that, that it really was a continuation of the American story, right? Of people from around the world that would get here and then keep on trucking west until they run out of land. So you've got this land of fruits and nuts and visionaries that were able to kind of succeed. And we thought, hey, there's a story there. There's, again, strategic reasons of, hey, we'd rather not have people bail and go to Universal Studios for a day. So, hey, Hollywood Pictures backlot, we can fit whatever IPs we ever own or buy or produce into this very flexible, movie soundstage land, kind of a mini, Disney MGM Studios. Hey, instead of people going to SeaWorld, why don't we have a Pacific Ocean themed area, honoring, Santa Monica Pier, Santa Cruz Boardwalk, all these great classic. When you think of the Beach Boys and California and sunsets and surfers, Paradise Pier was the original incarnation of that, now Pixar Pier. And then again, when you think of the Wild West and the American the landscapes, when that you're flying over on the Soarin' attraction, that flexibility of having a natural area, Golden State, representing kind of the animal context, the Western mining context. Hey, guess what? That cuts you off from going to Knott's Berry Farm, right? And so anyways, there was a little bit of, hey, how can we kind of hit all the notes of what people are hoping to see and keep them contained within the Disneyland Resort, but then also it was about flexibility, frankly, because whatever, you could think of could probably fit into that theme. And that's really, I think, proved out to be true. The other thing about it, I would say, is that there was always a plan to be relatively conservative in the day one opening year investment, but tend to always have a pretty aggressive recapitalization strategy. And that was really true even before they announced DCA 2.0. If you really look at it, from Tower of Terror to Bugs Land to World of Color, they were really capitalizing that. And unlike almost every other park that opened in that 15, 20-year period, especially in the U.S., you look at places like Hard Rock Park that barely got opened and died. Yeah. Islands of Adventure, great park at opening day, but they didn't really add any significant new capital for, till Harry Potter saved its bacon, frankly. Yeah. And again, that's just part of theme park modeling. And the idea of some of that team was, hey, let's go back to how Disneyland worked. I mean, if you look at opening day Disneyland, it was pretty Spartan, pretty skeletal. But
people forget that.
Yeah, they do.
But that energy of adding new attractions every year is kind of a big deal. So personally, if I had my druthers of opening a fully stocked, park, and the other thing of, again, knowing the California repeat visitor, and the annual pass holders and the repeatability and to be able to host things like seasonal festival food and wine events. And, it does, there was an intentional vibe of almost going back to Walt's original inspiration for Disneyland, which was Tivoli Gardens, which is a very small place. It's as much about the entertainment, the dining, and people say, well, Paul Presser was a mall guy. He just wanted to sell T-shirts and trinkets and shops. But again, the repeatability of these great dining. I mean, for that park to open up with a Wolfgang Pucks and a Robert Mondavi and, these celebrity chefs, and to have like really great food and beverage experiences, hey, if you can't afford to do, these epic e-ticket, Rise of the Resistance rides, then, hey, you better have some really good food and some really good entertainment.
DCA is really, it's really evolved, and it's really, I think, come into its own. And the thing that's, again, really interesting, because we're, kind of talking about design and stuff, is think of the footprint of DCA and how it lended so well to be able to be flexible, to be able to take out a land and re-put a land in, and how we were able to get Cars Land into, something that was existing. And even Pixar Pier, not as that was kind of more of a re-theming. It wasn't really redoing a land, but it still feels very cohesive. And there's still parts of DCA 1.0 there. Of course, you've got, the whole Grizzly River Run and the Grizzly Peak area. That's definitely 1.0. And the other thing that I always find interesting is the water, how all of the water in the park is always connected. So the water that's on Grizzly River Run is connected to the Pacific Wharf area, which is then connected to your World of Color Lagoon. And it's just amazing.
Oh, when you're in California and drought conditions. And I mean, that's just kind of, as far as pure environmentalism and sustainability, those are not options. Those are not nice things to do. Those are requirements. So you've got to be really smart about that. But you're right. And, again, there was surface parking areas that were around the perimeter, the old Timon lot that, again, were always anticipated to be expansion pads. And so from, Tower of Terror to Cars Land, that is kind of according to plan. So
it's just so cool how it all comes together. It's not often that you get to see, experience the birth of a park to then see go through the evolution stages that DCA has gone through, because Disneyland for the most part is pretty close to what everyone grew up with, because that's just how it was set up. Obviously we've added some stuff, but it's changed some things, cool I think it's really neat to see the evolution. And DCA, we've talked about this before. We have listeners that if you ask them what's their favorite park, Disneyland versus DCA, it's DCA hands down.
It suffers from the Star Wars prequel thing, is what I call it, where whatever you grew up with is the thing that nothing will ever touch, right? So you look at Disneyland, and people that grew up with Disneyland, nothing will beat Disneyland because they have all those memories and nostalgia with it. So when they build DCA, you're an adult now. You don't have that childlike nostalgia with it. But all the people that we've talked to that are listeners and stuff that enjoy DCA are people that grew up with DCA being there, and they like it. They think it's great. It's who cares? It's got, I like the attractions, the food, like you were saying. So, and that's what happened with Star Wars too. You talk to people about the prequels that grew up with the prequels. They're like, I like the prequels. I don't know why everybody's so upset about the prequels. It's just because
it's the same thing. Magic Kingdom versus Disneyland. It's whichever one is embedded in memory and the emotions and the nostalgia. So you can't touch that.
Do you think this is something that's come up a lot? And if this is asking you something that you have knowledge of or something, you can just, whatever, woof it. But do you think that Disneyland or that Disney will ever rebrand California Adventure? Because I feel like it's getting to that point where, I mean, a lot of people, IP land and all this stuff, but that it's kind of, a lot of the intellectual property, a lot of their other studio things are there. do you think they'll shed that California theme at some point, or do you think they're going to just kind of stick with it?
I think part of the beauty, again, of that original, Aspen Blue Sky session that came up with the idea of California is again, let's start with flexible. We will not break. The flexibility that it's proven to be a pretty flexible theme. Those different zones have been able to have the different Pixar, characters. And the fact is, when you talk about Tokyo, Disneyland, Disneyland Paris, that branding of Disney with the place name from just a global marketing perspective is a pretty good thing. So to have Disney and California in the same sentence isn't really that bad from a global marketing perspective. It doesn't in any way limit, I think it's proven out that it's not really limiting what they can do conceptually or thematically. Again, there's not to say that you couldn't have a creative leader that has this thing of like, it's got to be something else. But, to me, that's not where I would put any level of time, energy, investment, out the gate, right, at the start. So
interesting.
Disney.
California. I mean, I have all types of things I can ask about, Teresa. Go ahead. Oh, okay. Because I always just feel bad because I can ask questions all day long, and I always feel like I'm not giving her the chance to talk about things. So with what you do now with Storyland Studios, what do you do with that? Like, what does your company do? We've talked obviously a lot about Disney stuff, but I think there's a lot of cool stuff that you could probably talk about with that as well. So what is that, and what do you do? And you probably can't talk like specifically who you work with or whatever, but just kind of give people an idea of what you do.
Sure. Well, in a lot of ways, we intentionally set ourselves up to be similar to Walt's Happy Place, back in the day, WED Enterprises, and he had WED and Mapo. That's what morphed into Disney Imagineering. That's what we intentionally set out to create. After 9/11, 2001 is when we started. So just celebrated our 20th anniversary. But,
congrats.
Thanks. We're still standing. And, we're, about 120 strong, artists, architects, artisans, left brain people, right brain people. We've got accountants. We've got, plenty of former Imagineers. We've got, so in a lot of ways, we think of ourselves as sort of Imagineering for the rest of the world that doesn't have Imagineering in-house, but that also does include some work back to Disney or Universal or whoever. But, the reality is, actually, I did my graduate thesis on the idea of Disney design and Imagineering principles, spatial storytelling beyond the berm. And really, I just recognize that, look, Disney's not just single-handedly, but there is an appetite globally for people to be able to connect with story. I say that architects love to say that form follows function. I've always loved the alternative of form should follow fiction, that spaces have always told stories, whether you like it or not. And that, if you could be a little more intentional about what story you're telling, it drives really successful businesses. It drives great customer experiences. It can create some really compelling destinations that, like Disney discovered, people will save and deal with planes, trains, and automobiles to beat down your door. However much you want to charge them once they get to your door. And so we're finding that there's actually a pretty good appetite globally of companies and causes of different types of clients that are open to looking at learning from the brain damage that I incurred at Disney. And that, again, it can include, a Saudi Arabian member of the royal family. It can include a church down the street from our studio, including some of the biggest churches in the country. It can, we've done entire villages. We did a village for survivors of child sex trafficking in Southeast Asia. And again, at first thought, you're thinking, well, what is, especially when they came to me and they said, well, we need this place for, these survivors to heal emotionally and physically. But they need some psychological detox. So we need to have 15-foot high perimeter walls and armed security guards. And, we have, pimps that might try to break in, kidnap them back. They need psychological, I'm like, whoa, I don't do juvies. I didn't sign up for designing a prison, whatever. But, again, to apply the principles of kind of redemptive, restorative, holistic design, to get the site that had a 270-degree ocean view that's on a hilltop. So we were able to put the fence around the bottom of the hill and to create these open air kind of Ohana family style villas that, were kind of like that ideal beach bungalow you'd stay at Four Seasons Bora Bora, but, overlooking the ocean, and then for those to center around this healing garden. And, there's still a story applied there of this kind of healing garden. They're harvesting those moringa trees for different pharmaceuticals. And so there's different types of narrative and storytelling. It doesn't always have to be a big Hollywood blockbuster IP that you're translating into a big, $500 million e-ticket ride. There's different ways of telling stories. I actually, side note, I just, had a unanimous approval last night by our hometown. We redesigned our downtown. We created the new design guidelines for the city of Corona, where I went to Corona High School. And, I think I was a year ahead or behind the mayor. And, to be able to go into the history of Corona, which even the name, the world probably thinks coronavirus. But growing up, I'd say, yeah, I'm from Corona. I'd meet some girl and they're like, oh, Corona del Mar. I'm like, no, Corona del Riverside. You thought about what does Corona mean? They might think, oh, well, yeah, it's obviously Spanish for beer, or maybe it's Spanish, it's crown. But we dug into it. We dug into the city's history. We looked it up in the dictionary, found this great definition of a concentric circle of light surrounding a luminous body. Wow. And I said, well, that's actually a cool thing. Yeah. We created this amazing, town green village. Instead of a village square, it's kind of a village circle, in the middle of their downtown that, has these kind of LAX type light pylons that create that magic circle of light. And again, right now that's just a dead pedestrian mall called the Corona Mall, and it's like nobody goes downtown. It looks like zombie land. Yeah. And so to be able to restore the heart of our hometown is kind of cool around the power of story, and again, the people got the vision, because we didn't just come up with it. We took the time to listen again to the characters, the people that live there, that used to live there, that, want to live there again. And, we kind of pulled the story out from them. And then when they saw their ideas on paper in drawings, it was a really powerful thing, which is not easy to do when you go to public hearings. Usually it's the pitchfork waving crowd, that wants to take you down. So.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's so cool. The thing that's neat about that is that, your experience with Disney and kind of doing these designs at Disney. And it's one of those things that unfortunately a lot of us just kind of take for granted because they blend so well and so seamlessly that it doesn't stand out to you. And it's not something that's exciting, like you said, like the new e-ticket attraction or anything like that. But it's just as important, if not possibly more important, because those spaces, even though they're, it's just like for downtown Disney, for example, it's just, it's restaurants and shopping and it's, it's not, it still makes you, it feels like a hug when you're there. It's just, it gives you this like warm feeling. And that's what we always call like the Disney bubble feeling. Is you just kind of like feel safe and comforted and happy all at the same time. It's just, it's hard to describe the feeling and bottle it. So it's amazing that that feeling basically is achieved with design. And so to be able to then take that and implement it in, communities and all over the world that's a really cool thing.
I never thought about this before because we've had a guest on before who taught at the Disney Institute, and they teach other companies how the Disney way is and how there's, they have that culture. But taking, like you're saying, taking those design philosophies of Disneyland and Disney properties and putting them in towns and stuff, like, of course, like that makes sense, but I never thought about it that way. So what an awesome career you have to be able to do this, and kind of just in general, the idea of coming up with an idea for something and then it coming to fruition and seeing something go from paper to reality must feel just amazing to kind of, and work with creative people that get really excited and just excited as you are about these various things. It must just be awesome.
Well, there's highs and lows, and there's trenches, and there's battlefields, and so it's a journey. It's a journey.
Oh, yeah.
Is all I could say. But the cool thing is to have amazing people that I get to journey with in terms of our team and our clients, and it's a ride. It's definitely an e-ticket ride and a epic movie. So
when you're working with clients on projects, let's I know we're going back to theme park stuff. I'm sorry. When you work with clients on projects, are you finding that more recently people want to do themed, immersive, like whole lands, because this has been something we've been talking about a lot, which is, you know, you get like the Galaxy's Edge, or you get like the Avengers Campus, or the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, where an entire section of a park is one property. Where if you look back in the day at like Disneyland, you had like more generic. You had Adventureland, you had Frontierland. DCA you were talking about, where there's these kind of vague neighborhood kind of areas where you can plug a bunch of stuff in there. Does it seem like that's the trend? And then do you also, as being somebody who does this type of work, does it seem like that's going to be good long term? Because I mean, it seems unfathomable at the moment, but what happens when Avatar isn't as successful or Harry Potter becomes not as successful? What do you do with those whole lands? It's not like it's easy to retheme Harry Potter.
Right. Well, I think there's a couple things. I would say that another trend for us, because we do work on $1 billion+ parks. We do work for, the regionals. When you take an owner like Cedar Fair, who has a pretty good, contingent of former Disneyland managers, that John Storbeck and some great people that have gone over to Cedar Fair. Rafi Caprillian's an amazing operator, a visionary, runs all their operations. But, we just opened up a pizza place basically in Roaring Twenties, and kind of tried to bring back some of the glamour of Mary and Nat's original vision for the Roaring Twenties and that Melody Lane area. Some of our friends and team members are restoring Fiesta Village right now. And, and we've done some master planning for their Great America Park. And, there's definitely an understanding of, hey, a theme park should be cohesive with these themes, right? And rather than just hodgepodge and just, different, roller coasters and steel, giants, a lot of our work has gone in and, hey, let's find the drawings that were filed away years ago, the original paint schemes, the original artist concepts, let's build on the original bones of the guys that actually wanted to set out to create a themed park to begin with, or a themed land or a themed environment, past this kind of roller coaster wars kind of phase. And so there is just generally the idea of reestablishing, restoring some of these actual, themes, so that there's more to it than just, just the individual, ride attraction roster that they're about. Obviously, if you're an IP holder, and there's fewer and fewer of them these days. I don't know if you heard about the potential DC Warner Universal Comcast kind of merger, but if you're sitting pretty and you're one of these major IP owners, obviously you want to capitalize that, and if you happen to have some real estate, it's about kind of having containers for those IPs nowadays. That's definitely the big game these days, with Disney and the Universals. One of the things I personally always have loved about the original Disney parks is that they weren't ever just a container for IPs. There's a very specific spirit that differentiates each of the Disney parks, in my opinions. Animal Kingdom is pretty different from, Epcot, and is pretty different from the studios. And I mean, they have a different reason for being, even though they may someday all be filled with Disney IPs, there's still a different DNA and a reason for being for those parks. And, in our new parks that we're doing, I can just share with you, not the biggest fan of like having lawyers running around trying to negotiate big IP deals for entire parks or entire lands. I personally am a big advocate for just having a great, amazing immersive settings that have the maximum amount of flexibility. And, and then, hey, certain IPs work great within those immersive realms, and others not so much. And sometimes it does make sense to change out an entire zone or district or realm, but it's a lot easier to change out individual, show buildings or attractions or boxes than it is to kind of do a full wholesale retheming of a park, so that's just my personal take on that.
Yeah. It's just
but there's no doubt Harry Potter was great for fans, for the industry.
My gosh.
I think that kind of introduced the power of these full immersive, you're in that diegetic universe of you're in Hogsmeade Village, and how awesome is that? I have no complaints about that. I love the fact that I can drive up the 101 and walk in and have my butterbeer, hot or cold. That's awesome as a Southern Californian.
It's okay. I'll be the only weekly tier without an answer. Make sure you send your questions to producer James or producer Vern at trivia@DLWeekly.net.
Well, welcome back to Trivia Land. This week, we're all about Midway Mania. Tay and Teresa, you think you got a high score?
No.
All right, well, we'll see how you did. True or false? Question 1. Disneyland's Midway Mania was the first of its style of attraction to open. You both said false incorrectly. It opened on the East Coast about a week and a half to 2 weeks before.
Oh.
Ooh, almost 3 weeks. So let me correct
right.
that.
Okay.
And then it opened a few years later in Tokyo. Question number 2. How many different activities and toys can you identify from the Toy Story films, or maybe even your own childhood? Point for Tag, it's 29.
Ooh, good job, Tay.
I did not expect you to get that close.
Yeah, well, that was funny because you were asking about single digits, and then you say 30.
Well, I was just surprised. You're like, is it triple digits? So I was expecting to go like 85, and then you go down to 30. And I'm like, wow, all right.
It was just a feeling.
Hey, sometimes that works, right?
It usually works for Teresa, but it worked this time for me.
That's right. Our third question this week. One of the carnival booths in between games is Hockey Puck's ice cream bars. What is it a nod to? I thought this one might stump you. It's a nod to Don Rickles, the voice of Mr. Potato Head. He coined the term "you hockey puck" as an insult back when he would do all of his insult comedy, and he used it in Toy Story once, though at that point he was actually talking to an actual hockey puck, so it made a little more sense. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, he had a great voice.
And our final question for the week, put the games you play in Midway Mania in order, not including the practice or bonus rounds. You start off with Ham and Buttercup, Ham and Eggs. The egg toss is first. From there, you meet Rex and Trixie for Rex and Trixie's Dino Darts, followed by Sarge and his Green Army Men Shoot Camp. Fourth is Buzz and LGM's Buzz Lightyear's Flying Tossers, the ring toss.
Flying tossers.
And finally, it's Woody's Rootin' Tootin' Shootin' Gallery, which nicely sets up the bonus round since you're still shooting those darts. So, you got 3 out of the 5 right, only flipping the last 2. You're pretty darn close, so half points all around for you, too.
That was
Look at
pretty
that.
good. I'm actually impressed we got as close as we did.
Spoiler alert, James, as you were going through, I had a video up and I was skipping through it quick.
Oh, just to make sure I was telling the truth?
Well, no, before you
He's
got to that,
impatient.
and Teresa was looking at it too and marking stuff off, and she was like, dang it! So I knew we got something
Yeah,
wrong.
we flipped one around. We were
Yep.
pretty close.
But what's funny is I don't really ever have a chance. Like, again, I'm so focused on what we're doing that I was looking at some of these things and I was like, oh, okay. Like in the beginning with the eggs, to me, it just looks like a bunch of yellow things flying, but that would make sense that they're like eggs.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're not really like splattering either, are they?
No.
They just kind of crack. And then we were looking at the balloons is like the dinosaur
You didn't know
balloon
those were
one.
darts?
No, I knew these were darts. And then the third one was the Sarge thing. And what is this throwing?
Like a ball.
Like a ball. And then, of course, the rings, because the rings are so different than all the other things. And then, of course, the suction cup darts for the...
Oh, I guess they're not really plates. They're just
They're
discs.
targets.
Yeah, discs.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Hey, I'm pretty impressed with our memory.
Yeah.
I am, too. But I had to get the victory because I have to tell you, whenever we go on this attraction, I always lose. So finally, I get a little bit of a win for myself with these stumpers of a trivia.
Don't you beat me, Teresa? Like, don't I start beating you and I feel really good and then you always like,
I don't.
boom, coming
I don't.
at the
Yeah,
end?
I don't know. I know I can win Midway Mania, but I face plant every time we play Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, yes.
I'm horrible
That's
at
the
Buzz
difference.
Lightyear. Horrible.
That's right, because I just totally kick your butt.
You
at-
womp me in
Yeah,
Buzz
womp
Lightyear.
you even.
Womp. hmm
Oh, they're back to recess.
I did all right with web slingers, though. I think I've won one, and I think you've won one. The times we've done web slingers.
I don't like, I feel like I don't really get the tricks of web slingers
web
yet.
slingers is, yeah.
I crushed it the second time we played it. Like,
Did you throw
absolute high
things
score.
around?
Did I what?
Because you
Yes.
could swing and grab things and then fling it.
That and also trying to target the explodey bots was a big one.
Well, you're better at video games, so.
I know, it pays off for Spider-Man, thank goodness, but the other one's not so much. Well, I suppose I got to close Trivia Land down, but not before saying, hey, if you want to help us out with some trivia questions, you can send them our way, or even, recommend an attraction for us to feature, or a show. We could do a show, too. This could be fun. If you got an idea for us, send us an email. It's trivia@dlweekly.net.
Well, we will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
Please remain seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. Then collect your belongings, watch your head, and step carefully from the episode. On behalf of all of our crew, thanks for traveling with us. And we hope you have a happy and memorable visit here at DL Weekly.